pedal fans! Fender released the Hammertone series, and I don't quite understand why. They seem to have been out for a while. Maybe they now added a few more. I don't know, but all of a sudden now there's a release. So they contacted me and said, can we do a video together? Of course. So this is a sponsored video, but I will bitch and moan about whatever I want to bitch and moan about. But first, before I can bitch and moan, I have to test it and actually put the board together, because it's a whole ecosystem of the Fender Professional board, which I have in the small version. There's also a obviously medium and large and mega professional, whatever. So there's the board, there's the power supply, which I have the 8 of, the engine room level 8, even though I've got 9 pedals. That's all they had. They also have a 12, but they weren't in stock. And then there are the 9 pedals. So let's put it all together before we actually do anything. And that's coming right up. Okay, let's put this board together. So, laying out the pedals. There's the hole where the power supply will go. And you open up this plastic thing in the back. And I wrote to Fender and said, well, it would be really nice if you included rubber strips so that the power supply doesn't slip. Well, that's before I saw that they did include them. So you clamp the power supply down and it's already bending a little bit. So be careful not to break the plastic. Now, these little things I think are totally cool. They just go in the back. They're very, very easily clipped in. And you have amazing cable management. And there's even 2 left. Now, well done, Fender there. I gotta say that. No zip ties necessary, even though zip ties are included. And now the Velcroing. Yay, oh, the fun. And I wanted to do it so that there isn't any Velcro showing, because the board is so pretty and silver. So we're doing pedal by pedal, which of course means it's only really with that Velcro, the way I'm doing it, compatible with this board layout. But that's fine, because, this is a demo for that board with those pedals. So I'm doing each individually, making sure that the bottom row is actually hitting those holes for the cables. And the top row, well, you're shit out of luck, because there are no holes for cables, because that's where the power supply is. Now I'm using different kind of patch cables here, putting them in the holes, preparing to cable manage them underneath with the clips, but later on that plan changes. So now I'm getting really, really short patch cables for the top row, so that they don't have to go through the holes and into the bottom of the board. And I'm realizing, wait, I've got more of these Planet Waves solderless patch cables, so I'm taking the whole row at the bottom off and putting those on. I built them for a trade show board at some point, so I have perfect length cables for exactly this situation. And now on to power, so turn that shit around. And I have the level 8, which means I'm missing one outlet, so I actually have a split cable to 3. So the first 3 pedals are actually on one outlet with 500 milliamps, which should be fine because they're analog. And the others all go individually. I'm cable managing with those really cool clips. That's totally simple to do. What a great system, Fender. I'm impressed there, gotta say that. And we're done. So let's talk about the board now that it's built before we go into pedal sounds. Fender sent the small version of the Fender Professional board. And my first impression is very impressed, I guess. I looked at the case and I was like, oh, this is nice. It's definitely, I think, a little bit more than I usually expect from a case like this. I'm fine with most of it. Now, plastic, the thing is, that is all fine as a hobbyist. But when you're talking professional, plastic. So, is this going to break? Probably not. But a pedal board is heavy. And all I'm saying is, this kind of stuff, when it's professional, for the pro on the go, should be metal. Metal! Other than that, I like the height. They really give you a lot to work with here. I love the silver look of this board, which is very cool. And when you're only putting the pedals down where the pedals should be, then you're maintaining that silver look. The plastic things on the sides, I really don't have a big problem with. I like that there's handles. Now, these things right here are a real problem. because these are the rubber feet. They will last one rehearsal and then they're gone. This should have been a different solution with actual feet, or these at least should have been glued on firmly. Just slipping these things over the rails is not enough. Now Fender supplies these hole pluggies in the back here, which is kind of neat. But I have no indication whether you can actually purchase jacks to mount into these. Probably, because otherwise what's the point? Input, output, that would be professional. Now the way the power supply is mounted is pretty cool. It does bend a little bit here. And again, professional, I wouldn't expect a plastic thing, because when you really clamp that down, this can break. It might be space age plastic, that's all good, but I have a feeling that this could be a problem. Now, I really love these cable tie thingies. I talked to Andy and he tested it and he said they do get loose and they fall off, which is sad. So pretty much just, use normal cable ties. I do like the idea. If there was a way to make sure that they're really more secure, that would be great. But I don't have any data on it. I love that that's all supplied. That is professional. As for the power supply holder, this is clearly meant for the Fender one. A Carl Martin DC Factory will work. Anything that's a little bit thicker. If it's too thick, it will not work. Something like a Chox will not work because it's too thin. So it's like, oh, we make our own, so why don't you just buy our own? It will clamp down on a variety of power supplies. Just make sure to know that it's not all of them. You might actually have to build something for a Chox just to fatten it up a bit with rubber or whatever. I like the idea of that clamp, but that should be metal as well. 150, you have pedal train options. You have a couple of options in that price range. I do like the general idea of the case, minus the plastic stuff. I do love the look of the silver board. Kind of sad because of the power supply up here that you can't hide the cables right there. I avoided it by having very short cables going like this. But of course, if you have a looper switcher, which you probably wouldn't have on a small board like this, then everything would have to go to the looper switcher at the bottom. Generally speaking, I am pretty impressed with the board. I think to be fully professional, some more road testing and a couple of little tweaks would have been nice, Fender. Overall, though, I think it's a good entry into the pedal board market, whether or not you want to spend $150 on the board. Look at the options. The power supply is a solid brick. It's pretty damn big, though. It's got 8 outputs. There are power supplies with 8 outputs that are half the size and half the weight. There's no need for this thing to be that big, which means it's great for your own boards if you're staying within the Fender ecosystem. If you want to buy the engine room level 8 that I have here, there's also level 12 and a level 5. But put that on a different board. This is going to be really big underneath or on top. And you definitely, in the €150 range, which this is, you have other options that are space-wise smaller. In terms of ins and outs, well, you got 500 milliamps on each out. You got 2 with 9, 12 and something. 9, 12 and 18. And you've got USB A and C. And Andy, thank you, Andy, tested it. The USB-C will power a MacBook Air. That's a big plus for the Fender one right there. Can't say that I know of any other power supply that will do that. So way to go there, Fender. But again, it's a little bit big. And now, back to me. So now that we've covered the pros and cons of the actual board and power supply and all that, we don't have to go into it anymore, which means we're going to go right on the board and do a quick overview of what's going on. I will be doing in-depth videos of some of them, if not all of them, depending on how time allows. So let's look on the board. We got an overdrive, which is a typical overdrive, except that you can push the mids pre-drive, which is very nice and a cool function. There's a fuzz with an octave that already tells you it's very, single nodey. It can get very spitty. This isn't a big chord fuzz. It's a dirty single note kind of a fuzz. There's a distortion with bass and treble, very rat-like and slightly fuzzesque. And then there's the metal, which sounds like the distortion, if you ask me. There isn't a huge difference, and we're going to explore that. There's the chorus, which is neat. Kind of, why can't I think of it? A small stone, that one. But we're going to go into why I think that. There's the Flanger with a couple different ways of switching. We don't know what they do. I mean, I do, but I'm not going to tell you in this video. There's the what does that say? Hey, Leslie, what does it say?
I don't know. I can't read it.
Okay, Leslie cannot read it. Neither can I. It says space delay, which is a tape-ish kind of delay, even with patterns, which is kind of cool. And mod to turn on. There's the delay, which is technically up here a digital delay, but then it's got analog variants with mod. And then there's the reverb. Why are they called Hammertone? Well, because they all have that hammery kind of painting. Hammerschlag, as we say. Hammerschlag-Lack, as we say in German. They did a lot of things right about these pedals. Top-loaded everything. That is cool. I mean, look how easily that is cabled up. And this bugs me that the board isn't perfectly perpendicular and all straight. But with pure Velcro, that's tough to achieve. Or, and this one's higher. That's really bugging me. So these are clearly digital. I think this is digital and the chorus as well, I think. These clock in at €65 each, or actually, let me check that. I think it's 68. So as of today of the filming of the video, the analog ones, let's call it that, are €68 each, which is obviously budget pedal pricing with the Fender logo on it, which is pretty damn cool. Again, top-loaded everything. This is solid stuff, cool knobbies. And then these are 85. Also, very, very cool. A reverb for $85. That's that good, tough to find. These two delays for $85, definitely worth it. Flanger and chorus, we're going to talk about, are still recommendable, but they have their own, vibe. If you want to put batteries in these, they open in the back with a single screw, as you saw in the beginning. And the modulation on these two can be tweaked, as it should be, in the back with internal pots, but you have to open them. And these are stock now, so I'll show you how Fender delivers these stock. I think this also has something tweakable. Let's get into bitching a little bit. These are different algorithms. These are different algorithms. Which ones are those? You can't tell. You have to memorize it because nothing here indicates what's happening. For me, it's even tough to say, is this mod on or is this off? This is actually on, but when you go towards the word mod, it's off. Okay, fine. But having a list of the algorithms here would have been nice. Now, next thing that I'm going to bitch about a little bit is Fender could have given these a lot more character by actually naming them. Having a series of 9 pedals, by the way, without a compressor, which is kind of an oversight, I think, that says reverb, delay, flanger, chorus, metal, distortion, fuzz, and overdrive is very undescript. If it didn't say Fender on these, you would think this is some kind of Chinese clone company not coming up with cool names because, calling the distortion, come on. The fuzz, it really robs these of some kind of flair and character and giving these their own identity. But in the end, it's about the sound. And they do deliver for the money. What really bugs me is also, I love these Fender style knobs, blackface style knobs, but there's no line on them, which means in order to set it centered, you have to put the 5 on top. Okay? Right here, to have it centered, put the 5 on top. And with a line, even if you just paint a line right up here, it would be so much easier just know where the top is instead of having to read the numbers. Small gripe, but it's going to get annoying if you fiddle with these quite a bit. By the way, we have 4 freaking cameras on the board. Why? I don't know. They're here. Leslie, show all the angles. Come on. Sexy board angle, huh? Oh, yeah. Sexy. Sexy. Cool stuff. We're going to play the Overdrive into, as always, the Tone King Sky King with the 412 cream backloaded cab, this time around with the Vola Osroa, O-S-R-O-A, roasted something, obviously roasted. I mean, look at this guitar. It's a nice guitar. We got some buzz here, has zero to do with the pedals because it's a single coil. And it's gone. Now we want that intro. Hamburger mode. So we're going to start over here. That's my clean sound. Without the mid push. That's not the overdrive for the fat rockin' sound. That's the creamy lead drive. That's your blues overdrive. And when you're pushing the mids, even more so. Let's check this out. It does the job of being that creamy lead machine. Very nice. Also pushing an amp into that creaminess. Don't expect aggression from it. It's all creamy. The fuzz. That's going to be interesting. You can hear a chord, but the more fuzz you give it, the more break uppitedness you get. So if you go like around the 12th fret, the octave will come out a lot more. Down here, it's like, is the octave there or not? But up here, it really hones in on that sound. Distortion! Definitely has that fuzzesquitude in it, which means it's probably rat-esque. Ratalicious. Ratatouille! Definitely a fatter kind of distortion, reminiscent of a rat. Now the metal should open up and be more transparent, more headroom. I don't think it does. Here's the metal. Actually, let's do that. Let's set both of them up the same way and compare. The character is clearly extremely close. The metal has a little bit more blown up lower end, which actually you don't want for metal. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is with those two. Moving on to the chorus, which is small stonish. And that means that when it choruses, it feels like it's a chorus in a metal barrel. There's a very tiny room with very quick early reflections happening. So it's not just doing the chorus detuned smooshy wooshiness. There's also this, if you know what I mean. I will demonstrate. So when you're only dialing in the level all the way, you're only getting the chorus signal, but you're not getting the nice detuning because it's not detuned against the guitar because the guitar is gone. So you have to go 50-50, meaning 5. different types. Again, there will be individual videos where I go into the detail. Flanger. Same sound, it also gets that boxiness, but flanging. Can I do the jet flanger? Fuck yeah! That's fun. Look, it's fun. It's fun, and it's like it's $85. So come on, it's fun flanger. Spacey delay. It's supposed to be tapish. There, slapback starts. I like the sound, but the cool thing is there are patterns. And another pattern. Freaking awesome. So let's turn the modulation on. Freaking awesome just went down the fucking window. Out the fucking window. Because the default setting for the modulation is up there. It's just too much, Fender. Please have someone in your, I'm going to say probably Chinese factory. I don't know, but it has to say it somewhere on the pedal. Now it's all taped over. Have someone go and just dial that back a bit. Done. Okay? Very, very simple. Why make me open it? I will do that in the full video for these pedals, but come on. That's not musically useful. So no modulation. And guess what? That same thing applies to the delay, which is intelligently called delay. So we're going to start here. I don't know how to play that, but so more of it. The dotted eighth trick is super fantastic with this. And that's, of course, a very digital delay. If we go to the second setting, it gets darker, and that's, of course, an analog style delay. Love it! And down here, rolls off the low end a bit more. Brilliantly done. I love a good delay for $85 that can do those sounds. Absolutely great. Two problems. Problem number one. Default setting of the modulation. Open it up, go inside, tweak it, and be done with it. But this... unusable, Fender! The other thing is, if you have feedback high up, if you have the feedback high up and the pedal is off, you get the pedal is off right now. This is not on. See? It's making that sound. So this is not true bypass. Most certainly not, because the guitar is going through it right now. I can hear that the pedal is doing something. But if the modulation is actually on, the light comes on a little bit. The pedal is off right now. It's going into super mega positive feedback. It's building up. And the signal inside is so strong that I'm getting that signal, even though the pedal is off. Be careful with your modulation. Have it off if you can. And definitely don't go into mega massive feedback, which you won't be doing anyway. But if accidentally you arrive at the gig and your knobs have been turned, be careful. That could happen. Even though the pedal is off, there can be sound generated from it. The clickies, by the way, are hard clickies. And the reverb. Other reverb. It's a room, I think. Name that chord. For me, the reverb is recommendable on any setting. On subtle, just giving the guitar a little bit of ambience, but even on bigger settings. Well, is it a big ambient reverb? That's, perfection? No, but it's also, $85 and it does a lot of things really well. Reverb all the way, thumbs up there from me. There was an overview of the new Fender Hammertone budget ecosystem level line with the Pro board, which is not quite so budget, but also not quite so pro. So I don't quite know what that is. But I like it. I have to say, I generally like the board. It's got its faults, but I like it. It's sexy. And the pedals, hey, bang for the buck. I've had much worse for much more. They have some problems, and we pointed them out, which leaves links below to everything. Check them out. That helps me if you buy things through my links. Thank you, Fender, for trusting in my bitching. There was also positive stuff, quite a bit, actually. And we're going to put links to Vola, by the way, to the Vola website. You get percentage and stuff. If you use my link, use it. And animals at the end.
What fleet what lies within. I'm like a snake, it will sting. It never goes away. So many oceans, give me any post. And I don't see no line up of ladies in the cities.